All right, welcome back. Well, the mainstream media just loves to get their hands on videos that show cops doing the most worst things you could possibly imagine. They love it, and they run it over and over and over again in a loop, and we see it for a week. Misty doesn't like that.
I don't.
She says that we need to show cops in the way that they really are most of the time. So what is your video?
Okay, this is Officer Gomez of Meridian, Idaho. He was called to address a vicious dog incident. You'll see dogs foaming at the mouth. And he takes every single proper procedure to use no violence in containing these dogs, saving the people of the neighborhood, and also saving the dog's life.
Play it.
Come here, puppies. Come here. Come here, puppies. Hi. Come here. Come here, puppy. Come here. Oh, hey. You're okay. Get back. Get back. Hey, get back. 9266. Can I get a code one, please? Do you want to go for a ride? No. Hey. Get back. Get back off. You don't like me much. Hey. Get back. Yeah, it's not very nice, is it? Come on, let's go for a ride. Load up. Load up. Load up. You can go in there. Load up. Good boy. Load up. Good boys. Load up. Load up. You're okay. Load up. Load up.
All right, so
Yes, so
You know-
I got two under.
Misty,
I know.
I'm watching that. I watch, when you guys get the videos, I watch them for the first time here, so this way I can get my reaction to
I
them.
like it.
I'm watching this, and I'm losing what it is that you want to talk about with this, which is the cop doing the right thing, and we're going to get that to a second. But I want to
Please.
get this out while it's inside. My stepfather is a detective, or a retired detective. And one time we were driving down driving down the road, I was driving, and I don't know if it was a raccoon or a squirrel or something, came running out, and I swerved around. And he said to me, "Don't ever do that again." And I said, "Why?" He says, "You have no idea of how many times I've gone to a call where a person's dead, wrapped themselves into a tree for not hitting a squirrel. Run that thing right over." I'm watching these two dogs. I got to be honest, if I was a cop, they would have never made it into the car.
Listen, I can understand, but here's my point. I think every video you see of police officers on the internet is negative. It has a negative spin, doesn't matter what the situation is, and that drives me crazy. Now, listen, this video is very obscure. This officer is getting accolades for spearheading this program, this particular training seminar of dealing with vicious dogs, which is a problem in this particular community, and without having to go immediately to lethal means. Now, there's also been several cases around the country where animal activist groups are going crazy because a dog, no matter what, vicious, it's just barking, maybe has rabies, maybe doesn't, is immediately shot. And this police department and this particular officer is taking proactive measures to do the right thing.
I want to hit the. I'm going to hit the Tom button right now. You ready? Go.
Here we go.
I'm buying this cop a bang stick that you use with a shark that, if he gets too close, at least he can jolt the dog.
Yeah.
I have been in situations in my 8 years in the narcotics division, the New York City Police Department, where we hit an apartment and the dog was trained to grab you where they could. It didn't matter if it was around your neck or on your arms or anywhere else. You're trained to take that dog down whatever way you can. There's other methods, if you know the dog's in there, that you will employ, but sometimes you don't know a dog's in there. And you hit that door with the ram, and you're going through, and that dog is coming, and you take that dog down, and you shoot it.
Well, I think it really depends on the circumstances. I mean, obviously the two dogs were right in front of him, so he was able to get them to stay right by him. But if there were other people in the area, if one was running one way and the other was running the other way, and people were at risk, he may have had to shoot them.
Right.
The other thing is, a lot of times after these dogs, I don't know if these were vicious dogs, because the legal definition of vicious would be that they bit somebody in the past or that day. If a dog's truly vicious, the government is allowed to take that dog and destroy that dog. in some jurisdictions. So my question is, how come these dogs are euthanized within 3 to 7 days through lethal injection, but serial killers are on death row for 30 years or more? That's what I want to know.
Dogs don't get legal representation. But
Unfortunately, yeah, that could really
relative to a
business
dog, I will
booming.
throw this out to you. Those 2 dogs could have charged that officer and could have latched onto that officer, taking him to the ground, where he's now pulling out his gun to try and get them off of him in some way, shape, or form, while the other dog grabs onto a different portion of his body, and he may be shooting himself as he's getting the dog off his leg. It's happened in New York City. It's happened in other places. I'm not.
But he was
I'm
using
not
pepper spray, so
No,
he
I'm
was-
not justifying. Yeah, pepper spray will work. Pepper spray. The dog opens his mouth and swallows the pepper spray, and then bites you harder. I'm not justifying the shooting of any animal for any reason. But if a dog or any other animal is vicious, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do, and you have to take it
Right,
down.
and so let's take this to another step. We're talking about the dogs, we're talking about animals, but I think the overarching point is, what do you hear in the media? You hear police officers don't follow their own procedures, they ignore the they immediately go to the most violent means of containing a perpetrator. This is an example of, yes, they do. They follow procedure. We
Well,
might be
yeah, but a
talking
lot
about
of
a dog
it's-
here. That dog had charged him. He may have had to go to lethal means. And maybe, listen, I'm thinking the way the media is, if that alligator in Florida was seen by a police officer, animal rights groups probably would have gone crazy for shooting that.
You mean the alligator who took the 2-year-old boy?
Yes,
the
that's
little
what
boy?
I'm referring to. Because it's damned if you do, damned if you don't in every situation.
You go right back to the story we just had with the gorilla in Ohio, right? Where they
Right.
had to kill the gorilla because the 2-year-old boy or the 4-year-old boy was down in that pit, and they wound up
Being dragged around.
and
If
they're
that-
still given a hard
If
time.
that story ended differently, say that story ended with the 2-year-old child being killed, which
Yeah.
thank goodness he wasn't.
Right.
It would have been a completely different story. It would have been the zoo was completely negligent. Where was security? Where was law enforcement?
didn't
Why
you
did it take
take
the
him
police
out
so
of
time
his
to get there?
misery?
Why didn't you shoot him earlier?
Right.
It really is true. It does not matter which way you act.
There was
It
no
is-
choice.
there
They
is-
had to kill that gorilla. I
You-
mean, the
you-
gorilla wasn't giving the kid up. Forget it.
But to your point, and being in this business, I understand completely that the video that you're showing right now, we're showing that. We're probably the only people who are showing it on a national level. You won't see that on MSNBC,
No.
Fox. You won't see it on CBC.
you won't.
Had the dogs been shot,
You would have been seeing it
Then you
all
may have
over
been
the
seeing
place,
it. Yeah.
and in tune with these other cases that animal rights activists
Can I tell-
are popping into mainstream media.
Can I tell you why? Because right now I would bet everything on this. If I take that video that you just put there and I put that on my Facebook page, and then I take the other video, which is potentially him shooting those dogs and putting on my Facebook page, the one where he shoots the dogs is shared a million times.
yeah.
The one
Right.
like this one is basically gone past.
But had the dogs latched onto that officer and dragged the officer up and down that block, that would have been all over the mainstream
Right.
media.
Absolutely.
20 times in 1 hour, they would have looped that video.
Because it's all about
Also,
ratings.
A lot of it's like inherent prejudice. I mean, when you listen to this guy, he's going, "Come on, little girl." Obviously, he's a dog lover.
Puppy, he was
Okay.
calling that thing a puppy.
Oh yeah, little pop, pop, pop.
No, he
You know,
specifically
I mean,
changed
you have
how
somebody
they
who
manage
hates
these
dogs.
situations.
They're not going to have that patience if they hate dogs. They're just going to shoot. If they're scared of dogs, it all comes down to the individual person approaching the situation.
Well, and that's all part of the
that's
point,
not-
is that there's this specific training program for how to handle these situations in an area where this is a problem. So let's say that.
know-
But why aren't we celebrating? This guy's being
I know.
celebrated in
He
his
is-
own
He should-
community. He's getting accolades for the way he handled it and for
He should
spearheading
be.
this program.
I know a lot
Why
of cops
doesn't anybody
who
know
would have
about it?
retreated to their
Because
car
it's
and called
Idaho.
animal control.
Yeah.
As long as the dog didn't attack someone, they may have retreated to their car and closed the door and the windows. And you know.
I want to ask you, for the minute that we have left, I want to go back to, I mean, this is a little different, but how I started my commentary on this video was, and if he's not right, say he's not right, but was my stepfather correct in the fact that you've gone to a lot of different places? So in terms of trying to save that squirrel, that raccoon, it'd be better off to just run the thing over?
Well, slow down. I mean, but don't swerve. It's the swerving, it's the losing control of your car that can cause an
I don't
accident
even think
or
you're
for
supposed to
injury
slow
to someone in your
down,
car.
actually.
Even if it's not
It
slowing
could be
down.
more
No, but you
dangerous
can
to
try
slow
and
down.
brake
I don't
for
know.
it.
Right.
As long as it's not like, you're
sudden
going
break.
80 miles an hour on 95 in Miami,
Right.
and you're braking and someone's going to hit you from the rear. You can try and avoid it, but don't swerve. He's absolutely
you're not
right.
even really supposed to brake because the impact, like let's say it's a deer, is going to be so much worse if you brake than if you just go straight over.
Thank God I live in New York. I don't drive.
Look that up.
If it's a deer, it's
Don't
gonna
take
hurt
our
either
advice.
way.
Look that up.
No, I tell you
because-
now, where I live, we have an abundance of deer, and all the time. I mean, you'll literally just be driving down the road at 25 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour, and a deer will just jump out of nowhere.
Right.
And my thing is, I'm not stopping. I'm hitting.
Right.
It's going to destroy my car,
Right.
but I'm hitting it. I am
Right.
not going to die for any animal.
There was one guy who hit a deer upstate, put him in his car, and the state trooper shows up, and the deer is going crazy in the car. The guy is screaming and yelling. Deer came back to life because the guy tried to save it for venison.
Didn't you ever hear that story that Mika Brzezinski's
would
parents
put-
always used to take the roadkill and feed it to the family? She put it in her.
Yeah, my point.
She put it in her memoir.
Celebrate this police
All right,
officer.
you know what? Officer Gomez, good for you. Good for you. You're a very brave man. Those dogs would have been killed under my watch. All right, we'll be back. Don't go away.